Welcome to Agronomy Moment. I'm your host, Wendell Cohen. We bring in people who agree with me, disagree with me, and above all, are not afraid to say it like it is. Welcome back, everybody, to Agronomy Moment. Thought Selena was here with me. Let's do a little bit of some topics here and our I'm going to call it the mid-season, not really late season for beans, but mid-season for beans, and talk about some things to be paying attention to this time of year. But before we get started, I want to talk about Technology Days. And I brought my box that I got in the mail. It's got all this little cool stuff in there. I won't go into it all, but it's got like a coloring book for your kids. It's got sunglasses, some popcorn or something in there, and it's an invitation box, right, for that. And I thought it was really a neat idea. So remember to put your name down for that. We have a bus booked for August 13th, and then to take in the 14th Technology Days in Colfax, Iowa. There are other ones, so find your local one, or let me know, and we can even arrange some to a different location at a different date if that's what you want to do. So remember that. Now, Selena, one of the things on agronomy I was wondering about is, and I think this is this ties in here. First of all, I think we should talk about late planted beans. These beans are planted around first part of April, and they are in the R3 stage. So time to spray that fungicide, insecticide.
Sure. Yep. Early plant beans, I've been in that zone, in that sweet spot for R3. Those late planted beans that you're talking about right now, a lot of folks are they really struggled to get those beans in, especially down here in Southwest Missouri, where just rain wouldn't shut off. Really good timing to be able to put your post herbicide applications on those fields.
So tell me about just on those late planted, because tying that herbicide application, because the reason it's a good time, like how soon will our late planted beans, like I'm talking end of June-ish. When will they bloom?
Okay.
When will they bloom?
Yeah, so about a month from plant date, and that just depends. Sometimes weather, warmer temperatures, going to speed that up a little bit, but with that late fours, I assume is probably the heart of what was planted. You could probably be around a month, maybe a little bit longer, just kind of depending on some of the weather and maturity to help speed that up a little bit. But that's where beans would be blooming.
And then we found out that maybe some of those shorter maturities, if you're in that region, they can go quicker.
Yes.
So if you, in your geography, if you planted some beans short season, they're going to bloom sooner from plant date than your later ones by 2 or 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Even?
Yeah, potentially.
And so keep an eye on that, because the reason we wanted to think that's important is when we get to R1, our herbicide applications at that point can do some damage to yield, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we risk the potential of just knocking a few blooms off, or burning, whatever you want to say. Liberty, especially a lot of Liberty applications are going to be made. We do have potential to burn some of those blooms whenever we get past that R1 time frame. So just something to keep in mind as far as the timeliness trying to get across your fields.
Yep. So I just wanted to kind of bring us to that point there. So if we can avoid those later applications, I think that's money ahead, as well as preventing the stress on the crop. We touched a little bit on the timing of R3 and the insecticide fungicide piece, but what are some things you might be seeing as it relates to pests in the field this year? Well, it's every year, but maybe there's some.
Yep. So stink bugs are the big culprit. They're everywhere. Of course, we've seen Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles are more of a kind of a cosmetic. They do lead to some vegetation loss, but most generally speaking, around your field edges are going to be worse. Not going to lead to a lot of concern there from the Jap beetles. But the stink bugs are ones that I'm really keeping an eye on. And then as our corn starts to mature and that ear gets hard, those kernels get hard, look for the corn earworm to move to the beans, which we call podworms whenever they get to the beans.
Yep.
But it's the same critter. So especially in our double crop or our late planted beans, that is where those podworms are generally in higher pressures.
Yes.
So that would be something to keep an eye on with your late planted beans also.
because we can see those infestations pick up as we get later in the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And generally speaking, on those late planted beans, they still have a lot of potential, and we still want to protect those nodes that are there, because there's generally less nodes there than our first crop beans. And so being able to
Yes.
protect the fewer nodes that are there, and capitalizing on an R3 application as well with our later planted, generally results in a really good return as well. So don't forget about those late planted beans.
Very good point. And sometimes on corn now, if you have late planted corn, there's a few acres like that here and there. Those as well could be something to watch for disease, because they could be tasseling here about now for some of that later corn. So not forgetting about that as well, because they are also going to be could be potentially very impacted by disease, right?
Yes, yeah, generally anything later planted is going to be at a higher risk for disease, just because our weather is most generally more favorable in those time frames for those diseases to come in.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Selena. Anything else?
I think that's it. Hope to see you at local technology days.
Sounds good. Remember that, August 14th, we're going. So come along, join us.
So, what? I thought it turned out well.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
If you were Scott Dickey now, you would say something like, "It's about time for lunch."
Guys,
What else?
starving.
You're starving?
Yes.
What would he call it, Selena? What does he say? Grub or something? He calls it something else. He doesn't say, "Let's go for lunch." He says,
I don't know.
"Ready for something." Call it. Yeah.
Scott, I don't.
You don't know what's going to come out. Exactly. But I wish he was here. We could have made a really nice roundtable discussion and
Hey, I got selected.
Field of Drums of the Year.
No.
It's your turn again.
For wave 1 of the whiskey.
It's almost bean time.
So
I got splinters on my hand. I'm coming. It's almost bean time.
lunch, yes.
Scott, what do we think?
Well, it's 11:30. It's 12 almost.
Camera is still
No, it's not. Oh,
move where like I was shutting it off, and I just kind of
Yeah, I got that splinter dissected out.